In the rural village of Kunloon, young Lloyd is considered the weakest loser who can't even catch a wild rabbit. One escapes from his hand, and his older brother Shoma, who has just returned from a journey, catches it effortlessly. Lloyd hugs his brother, who gives him a book about dragons of the outside world. Years later, a slightly older Lloyd travels to the kingdom of Azami to take the entrance exam for the military academy. While looking for a place to stay, he arrives at the home of a sorceress named Marie. She initially tries to act mysterious, asking for a sacrifice, and eventually tells him to find an inn in the town square. However, when Lloyd introduces himself and mentions that he is from Kunloon, Marie is stunned. She asks for the name of the village chief, and Lloyd replies, Auka. He then pulls out a crystal from his backpack, which glows and projects a hologram of Auka. The village chief instructs her former student, Marie, to take care of Lloyd. Since it is just a recording, Auka cannot respond. After the message ends, Marie throws the crystal into the cupboard and curses her teacher. After sending Lloyd to stay in the back room, Auka suddenly teleports into the house using the crystal as a portal. She sternly warns Marie not to make any inappropriate moves on the inexperienced boy and threatens to turn her into a frog forever if she does. As punishment for Marie's earlier remarks, Auka casts an ancient spell that inflicts minor and constant bad luck on her before leaving. The next morning, Marie wakes up to find herself put to bed and Lloyd cooking breakfast. During the meal, Lloyd explains that he wants to become a soldier because he was weak in his village and was inspired by a soldier from the novels he read. He mentions that the Azami Kingdom's military academy exam includes physical, written, combat, and magic tests. Lloyd is worried about the combat test since he lacks stamina, as it took him 6 days to run all the way to this kingdom, thousands of kilometers away, a journey his grandfather could do in just 2 days. Marie, initially thinking he must have taken different trains, is surprised by his physical strength. When she asks if he encountered monsters along the way, Lloyd casually mentions that he saw massive locusts and dragons, claiming that the real monsters are only demon lords. Assuming Lloyd is unaware of his immense strength, Marie slams her hand on the table, accidentally spilling coffee on her face. Lloyd quickly wipes it off with a cloth from his house, and Marie's skin instantly becomes incredibly soft. Marie realizes that the cloth contains an ancient rune, a spell she has been trying to learn for years. When Lloyd apologizes for his lack of skill and says he can only make magnetic rain, Marie disappointingly slams her head against the wall, breaking it. She decides that the next day, she will teach him the basics of common sense. Later, Lloyd heads to the city on an errand, and while admiring the scenery, he overhears rumors that spies are bringing monsters into the city. Meanwhile, a noble lady named Selin encounters a noble named Alan, who is wielding an axe. Alan talks about her reputation, calling her the Bell Princess, but she ignores him and walks into an alley. Suddenly, a giant locust attacks her. She tries to dodge and draw her sword, but the giant locust sends her flying. Lloyd suddenly appears and easily defeats the giant bug by crushing it underfoot, then tossing it away. He helps Selin and wipes the dirt off her face with his cloth. Selin is embarrassed and covers her face. Selin introduces herself, Lloyd introduces himself, and then he quickly runs off across rooftops to complete his work. Back home, Selin reflects on her past. She was born with a magical belt tied around her head and has heard people. A priest once told her something that made her keep going. Frustrated, she tries to rip the belt off and is surprised to see that it comes off easily. She realizes that Lloyd's cloth removed the curse from the belt. Excited, she declares him her knight and destiny. Meanwhile, Lloyd returns to Marie's house and gives her something he bought with the leftover money, which makes her blush, and she carefully puts it away. On the day of the exam, the instructors Murthoan and Cholene observe the new candidates and discuss the need for military strength due to the missing princess of the kingdom. They spot Riho, a one-armed mercenary with a criminal record who joined the academy in exchange for having her case dropped. Riho is taking notes on the candidates, and she immediately senses a strong and terrifying aura coming from Lloyd. When Lloyd compliments her metal arm, Riho gets scared and stands in a fighting stance. Lloyd apologizes, but before he can say more, Selin rushes in, pushes Riho against the wall, and claims Lloyd as hers. During the combat test, which involves striking a metal dummy, both Murthoan and Riho focus on Lloyd because of how strong he seems. Murthoan looks at him closely and becomes convinced that this boy will be very useful for. However, when the final test results are posted on the board, Lloyd's name is not there. He has failed the exam. At the military academy, Celine and Riho are both very upset that Lloyd failed the entrance exam. Colonel Cholene starts the orientation, explaining that the kingdom of Azami is on the brink of war with the Jew Empire. However, internal issues must be addressed first, especially the 5-year disappearance of Princess Maria Azami. Cholene announces a large reward for finding her, including cash, a promotion, and the granting of a reasonable wish. Meanwhile, Cholene discovers that Lloyd only failed the written exam because his written answers were actually ancient runes. Realizing his huge potential, she becomes shocked that they were not recognized sooner. Taking advantage of the reward offer, Selen and Riho promise Cholene that they will find the missing princess in exchange for Lloyd's admission to the academy. Unaware of these discussions, a frustrated Lloyd walks through the city and easily swats away a giant locust attack before reading a job notice at a restaurant. Upon entering the empty tavern, the owner, Chrome, suddenly attacks him. Sensing Lloyd's terrifying hidden aura, Chrome, a former royal guard and the missing princess's personal protector, suspects that the boy might be a spy. Lloyd easily evades the attack and politely explains that he only needs a part-time job, offering to demonstrate his skills. He makes a delicious risotto with tomatoes and fish while mentioning that he failed the exam. Impressed by the excellent food and assuming Lloyd is no immediate threat, Chrome hires him, although he privately decides to keep a close watch on the dangerously powerful young man. Back home, Lloyd informs Marie and Alka that he failed the exam. Lloyd asks for one more year to stay and do his new job to pay rent so he can retake the exam. They agree. While Lloyd prepares dinner, Marie takes the opportunity to seriously ask Alka to help save the kingdom. She explains that for the past 5 years, a mysterious individual has been manipulating the weak-willed King Azami to advocate for war, with a formal announcement set to be made during the upcoming National Foundation Festival. Marie had actually learned a rune from Alka to free the king from this mind control. Alka firmly refuses to intervene, reminding Marie that the residents of Kunloon only involve themselves in threats beyond human comprehension, such as demon lords. She sternly warns Marie not to involve Lloyd in this human political conflict, threatening to pull him back to Kunloon if she does. After Alka teleports away, Marie insults her, calling her a lolly granny. This activates the minor curse of bad luck Alka left behind, causing sudden pain, and frustrated, Marie throws Alka's teleportation crystal into a well. The next day, Rio and Myrthoan arrive at Chrome's tavern to discuss the search for the princess. They are surprised to see that the once notorious restaurant is spotless and filled with students enjoying excellent food. Their amazement reaches its peak when Chrome serves them, and they discover that Lloyd is the new cook. Recognizing Myrthoan, Chrome sends Lloyd to take out the trash so the two men can speak privately. Chrome admits that he only hired Lloyd to keep an eye on his incomprehensible power. Outside, Lloyd easily swats away another giant bug attracted to the trash. As he heads to burn the garbage, he spots Marie walking through an alley. Curious, he decides to follow her, but is soon distracted by the sound of a commotion nearby. In a nearby square, Selen is engaged in a heated argument with Alan. After forcibly interrogating a citizen for information about Lloyd's whereabouts, Alan scolds her aggressively for her non-noble behavior. Enraged, Alan attacks, swinging his axe at her, but Selen's magical belt mysteriously activates, deflecting the weapon and disarming him. Misunderstanding the situation, Selen immediately realizes that the belt's protective magic is a blessing from Lloyd. Just then, Lloyd arrives in the square, and an excited Selen loudly declares that he has come to fight for her honor. Hearing the commotion, Chrome, Myrthan, and Riho rush outside. To demonstrate Lloyd's abilities, Myrthan allows the two boys to spar. Alan, overly confident in his physical toughness, arrogantly lowers his guard and invites Lloyd to land the first punch with full force. The onlookers become terrified, believing that one serious strike from Lloyd could seriously injure or kill the noble. Just as Lloyd prepares to deliver the blow, Marie suddenly intervenes. Summoning a massive storm to conceal the area, she grabs Lloyd and vanishes before the punch can land. As the dust settles, Chrome catches a brief glimpse of the sorceress's face and finds it strangely familiar. After taking Lloyd away from fighting Alan, Marie drops him on a rooftop and scolds him for his carelessness. Lloyd sincerely thanks her for saving his life and innocently promises to do anything to repay her. Concerned, Marie warns him against making such offers, explaining that bad people could easily take advantage of his blind obedience. Suddenly, Chrome appears. After sending Lloyd back to the tavern, Chrome respectfully kneels before Marie. He reveals that he recognized her wind magic and confirms her true identity. She is the missing princess Maria Azami. Chrome explains that he resigned from the royal guard due to his overwhelming guilt over her disappearance. Marie then shares her distress, revealing that a hidden person is manipulating her father, King Azami, to declare war on the Jew Empire within just 3 days during the National Foundation Festival. She pleads for Chrome's help. At the academy, Cholene asks Myrthohan about his constant overtime and dedication. He explains that his childhood village suffered a severe famine, and the Jew army raided their remaining rations. Now he works tirelessly for the peace of the kingdom to prevent such tragedies from happening happening again. Meanwhile, Selin, who believes that she and Lloyd are destined lovers since the magical belt opened, and Riho visit Marie's house to buy information about the missing princess. They are surprised when Lloyd opens the door and serves them coffee. When Marie arrives, Selin becomes jealous seeing Lloyd living with another woman. Riho shows Marie a portrait of the princess. Marie panics and refuses to recognize her, but Riho cleverly points out that she never explicitly said the portrait is of the princess. Selin then begins to cry, explaining that they need to find the princess to secure Lloyd's admission to the academy. Impressed by their true goal, Marie suggests an information. Before revealing her identity, Lloyd interrupts. He claims to have discovered Marie's secret, he believes she is a hero protecting the kingdom, and he offers to help her save the kingdom. Knowing Alka's stern warning that the villagers of Kunloon cannot be involved in ordinary human conflicts, Marie forces herself to toughen up. She silences him harshly, dismisses his words as hollow, and declares that he is too weak for any task. Heartbroken, Lloyd apologizes and leaves. After he leaves, Marie formally reveals her royal identity to the girls. She explains the Kunloon village rule to justify her harsh treatment of Lloyd, and asks for their help against the manhunt launched across the kingdom by the individual controlling the king. Understanding the situation, Riho and Selin agree to assist. Later, on the rooftop, Marie prepares to use a rune on her father. Alka suddenly appears, praising Marie for keeping Lloyd away from human affairs. However, as punishment for throwing her teleportation crystal into a well, Alka curses Marie to end her sentences with the word meow. The next day, Riho and Selin secretly interrogate a citizen about the manhunt and discover that the soldiers were given the exact phrase for the peace of the kingdom. That evening, during the annual festival, Alka attempts to cheer up a sad Lloyd with chocolate bananas. However, their date is interrupted when a swarm of giant locust monsters attacks the festival grounds. At the palace, Chrome meets with the king and Myrthoan, and formally requests to rejoin the military. Armed with the girl's information, Chrome accuses Myrthoan of being behind the order to send soldiers after the princess, citing his specific phrase. Marie, Selin, and Riho arrive just as the Silent King finally reacts. King blasts Myrthoan into a wall, revealing that Myrthoan never controlled him. Instead, the entity-possessing king had manipulated Myrthoan all along. Using dark magic, King transforms Myrthoan into a human insect. Chrome, Riho, and Selin stop to fight the monster, giving Marie a chance to enter the throne room behind her father. Marie casts several elemental spells and creates mist to get close enough to perform the rune. However, King easily deflects the magic. For a moment, he pretends to be a normal father, distracts her, grabs her, and breaks her arm. Then he reveals his true identity. He is Demon Lord Abaddon, who plans to take over the world. Instead of despairing, Marie becomes furious. The Kunloon rules strictly allow intervention against demon lords. Realizing that she never had to fight him alone or break Lloyd's heart, she screams at the demon. Dodging Demon Lord Abaddon, Lloyd easily drives them off, but sensing that Marie is in danger, he abandons Alka to search for her. Princess Marie desperately runs through the palace halls as the entity pursues her. Meanwhile, in the city, Lloyd heads to the palace and encounters a terrified Alan hiding from giant locusts. Believing the noble to be a great soldier, Lloyd encourages him, assuring him that fear of monsters is natural and doesn't make him a coward. When a locust suddenly approaches Alan, Lloyd easily destroys it. After Lloyd leaves for his important conversation, a determined Alan gathers courage and kills a monster threatening a citizen in a nearby alley with a single strike. Realizing the attacking insects are connected to a demon lord and furious that they ruined her festival date, Alka decides to unleash her power. She creates a massive magic circle in the sky, causing small meteors to fall, and attacks the swarm of locusts. Inside the palace, the modified grasshopper proves too powerful for Chrome, Riho, and Selin, easily overpowering them. Hoping to be saved by her beloved Lloyd, Selene deliberately tries to get caught, but her magical belt automatically blocks all the monsters' attacks. Realizing they can't compete, Riho leaves Selene there to keep Myrthoan busy and rushes out to find Lloyd, immediately bumping into him. After explaining the situation, they return inside, where Lloyd spots the modified soldier attacking the citizens he swore to protect. Lloyd approaches Myrthoan and tries to reason with him. His earnest words about becoming a good soldier temporarily awaken Myrthoan's human consciousness, causing him to cry and admit his desire for peace. However, Lloyd completely misinterprets the situation, assuming Myrthoan is just a drunken fool acting in a strange festival cosplay. When Lloyd harshly scolds him for being drunk, Myrthoan loses consciousness again and fully reverts to his angry demon form. He lunges at the boy, but Lloyd easily dodges the attack and defeats him with a headbutt, knocking him unconscious. With the danger past, Lloyd asks about Marie, and she arrives safely at that moment, hugging him. A few moments later, the possessed king enters the room and mocks Marie for running away. Sticking to his ignorant nature, monster, Lloyd assumes King is just another dirty, drunk festival goer in a costume. Taking advantage of the moment, Marie agrees and forces Lloyd to use his magical cloth to clean the King's face, which contains a powerful rune. The demon lord tries to push the boy away, but Lloyd easily dispels the entity's power. As Lloyd cleans King's face, the rune successfully expels Abaddon. With the demon gone, Lloyd uses the cloth to fix Marie's broken hand. She hugs him to thank him, and a jealous Selin interrupts, demanding a full explanation. The next day, repair work proceeds smoothly across the kingdom, and war is successfully across the kingdom. While walking through the streets, Lloyd meets his older brother Shoma, who says he came to deliver festival supplies. Surprisingly, Shoma congratulates Lloyd on defeating Demon Lord Abaddon, a name Lloyd never actually knew. Before Lloyd can question him, Alka arrives with chocolate bananas and Shoma disappears immediately. Meanwhile, Chrome, reinstated to his position, speaks with Coline about Myrthoan. Chrome explains that Myrthoan was sentenced to forced labor in Kunloon as punishment. After battling monsters, Myrthoan is taken to large wheat fields that have grown continuously, and Alka explains to him that she regularly distributes this crop to poor villages during famines and wars. Upon hearing this, Myrthoan realizes Alka was the unknown benefactor who saved his starving village years ago, inspiring him to work harder. Back at Marie's house, Alka sees Lloyd half-dressed, but Marie quickly knocks her away. Lloyd finally emerges proudly wearing the uniform of the Azami military. Riho and Selin arrive a little later, and Lloyd formally introduces Alka. Upon seeing Selin, Alka recognizes her belt as a legendary Kunloon artifact made from the hide of a divine beast, designed to protect the wearer from all evil. Jealous of Selin's attachment to Lloyd, Alka tries to cast a minor spell to make the girl's butt hurt, but the magical belt easily blocks the magic. Finally, Alan arrives and reveals that he used the reward he received for killing monsters to request that Lloyd be allowed to enter the academy. Fed up with the escalating argument, Marie forcefully throws Alka into the teleportation portal, heading back to Kunloon, and orders the new cadets to proceed to the academy. One night, under the pretense of a routine task, Marie and Chrome take Lloyd to a village to retrieve a legendary sacred sword said to grant world domination. The sword requires immense magical power to draw, and Marie's prediction proves true as Lloyd effortlessly pulls it out. Securing the sword in a bag, the trio returns to the kingdom, where Marie instructs Chrome to commission a replica from the mayor and credit the discovery to a fictional great knight. The next day, Lloyd easily completes intense physical training at the Azami Military Academy, finishing his rounds without breaking a sweat while his classmates struggle. During magic theory class, excited Colonel Cholene interrupts, announcing practical training to select candidates for an upcoming competition against Rokujo Sorcery Academy. To break her school's losing streak, Cholene takes students to the practice field. She explains the 3 types of magic: chanting, sigils, and conduits. During target practice, Lloyd's magic proves highly destructive, completely vanishing a practice dummy. Fearing he might accidentally kill someone, Cholene forbids him from competing. During a break, Celine asks Cholene to teach her complex healing magic to aid injured comrades. Riho warns of the dangers of incorrect healing, but Alan immediately suggests they start practicing. When Lloyd shows interest, Cholene agrees to teach them, stating they need an injured volunteer. Selin promptly pushes Alan down the stairs to serve as a test subject for the girls. Meanwhile, at Marie's house, 2 unexpected visitors arrive: Mena and Philo, mercenary sisters from Rokujo. They show Marie a picture of Riho and demand information. Suddenly, Philo senses Lloyd's power approaching. As he enters, she kicks him in the head and ribs. Unaware, Lloyd casually assumes she wanted to kill a fly and apologizes for getting in her way. He recognizes Riho's picture and explains she is a classmate. Surprised by his tolerance, Philo asks Lloyd to become her master, offering to do anything. Marie throws the sisters out and sprinkles salt on them to keep them away. Despite Philo's attack breaking his rib, Lloyd rejects Marie's healing offer, saying he'll naturally recover in 3 hours. He heads to make dinner. A little later, Alka teleports in, furious that Marie secretly took Lloyd to the Sword Village. As punishment, Alka transforms Marie into a butterfly. That night, the magic wears off, leaving Marie completely naked on the floor, and Lloyd enters. Unable to handle the situation, the next day, Crumb secretly watches the students train. Ryo asks Cholene why she's so eager to win the upcoming tournament. Cholene explains that she hates Roll Calcife, a manipulative former classmate who cunningly became Rokujo's headmistress. Suddenly, Roll appears with Mena and Philo. Roll threatens Ryo, warning her to return to Rokujo or lose her most precious things, and says she'll wait for Ryo's decision on match day. Philo also approaches Lloyd, saying she's waiting for his response to her apprenticeship offer, making Seelin jealous. In the next few days, Lloyd notices Ryo is sad. During dinner, he asks Marie for advice on fixing a girl's mood. Assuming he's talking about her after their last meeting, Marie suggests taking the girl on a date. She becomes disappointed when Lloyd clarifies he means Riho. Following the advice, Lloyd takes Riho to a cafe. He asks her to share her secret, promising to help as a friend. Riho explains she grew up in an orphanage with Roll, who taught her magic. However, Riho's useless left arm limited her abilities. Roll gave her a mithril prosthetic for help, but Riho discovered Roll's true intention. The arm was designed to help pull out the sacred sword, and using it for that would kill her. Betrayed by the woman she considered her elder sister, Riho ran away. She explains that the arm still slowly drains her power, and whoever touches it will also have their power drained. Lloyd takes her hand and promises never to betray her. Selin then enters, scolding Riho for hiding the secret, and declares they will seek revenge together in the magic match. Before the main tournament, the schools hold a practice demonstration. Makona, a second-year student who holds a grudge against Lloyd, challenges him. To protect her, Colleen sends Philo in his place. Makona uses her magic at full power, but Philo easily defeats her with a single strike. Embarrassed, Makona rejects Lloyd's offer to help her up. Makona later approaches Marie for healing, harboring romantic feelings for the sorceress. Seeing Lloyd living with Marie, Makona grows jealous and storms off. On inter-school tournament day, Roll asks Riho for her final decision. Riho refuses, vowing to defeat Roll and save the orphanage. Chrome then announces the grand prize of the tournament, the legendary sacred sword. Assuming the sword is real, greedy Roll immediately registers as a student to participate. In response, Colleen adds Lloyd to the tournament as well. As the matches begin, Riho asks Colleen to teach her healing magic in the final moments. Meanwhile, Marie prepares to go watch the competition, but Alka stops her. Alka casts a spell on Marie that causes severe stomach pain every 10 minutes, and forces her to constantly apologize through the crystal to end it. The inter-school magic tournament officially begins with these rules. There will be one-on-one matches, and the school that wins twice first will be declared the victor. Participants can use all 3 types of magic, but will be immediately disqualified for physical attacks. The first match is between Selin and Philo. Selin assumes her magical belt will automatically protect her, but she is surprised to see it does not react to Philo's initial lightning attacks, as Philo has no evil in her heart. After enduring several blows, Selin scolds the belt, and it finally activates to block Philo's final strike. Selin then uses the belt to grab Philo and toss her off the stage. However, Philo had cleverly planned this. Using the belt as a physical weapon is against the rules, resulting in Selin's immediate disqualification. In the second match, Lloyd faces Mina. To test the boy her sister praises, Mina traps Lloyd's face in a water bubble to drown him instantly. After 20 minutes, Lloyd is still breathing normally. Frustrated, Mina traps him in a massive water storm. Lloyd easily counters with a powerful gust of air magic, scattering the water and blasting Mina into a wall, winning the match. The final and decisive match is between Riho and Roll. The two continuously hurl fireballs at each other until Roll distracts, closes the distance, and removes Riho's mithril prosthetic arm, assuming she is now helpless. However, at the moment of impact, Riho activates a fireball spell, causing an explosion mere inches away. Before the match, Riho had embedded a healing magic stone in her arm with a delayed enchantment. Roll watches in horror as Riho's badly burned arm instantly heals. Riho then pretends to cast a high-level spell, listing the terrifying things she plans to do. Terrified, Roll faints before the spell completes, granting Riho and Azami Military Academy the ultimate victory. Despite her loss, Roll insists on obtaining the sacred sword to gain more power. Waking up that night, her subordinate informs her that Lloyd currently possesses the sword, and that Marie originally obtained it and lives with a younger brother. Hoping to make an exchange, Roll orders Philo to infiltrate Marie's house and kidnap the item she protects most. When Philo arrives, she secretly watches Marie pleading and apologizing to her crystal. Believing this crystal to be the most valuable item, Philo waits for Marie to use the bathroom, steals the crystal, and leaves a ransom note demanding the sacred sword. Lloyd returns home, finds the note, and mistakenly assumes Marie has been kidnapped. He panics. Just then, Alan arrives for a personal medical treatment. Lloyd explains the situation, and the two rush to the location mentioned in the note with the sacred sword. Meanwhile, Roll realizes her mistake when Philo returns with a useless crystal instead of Marie. Her minions warn her that Lloyd is approaching. Seeing Lloyd, Philo demands to fight to the death. Lloyd agrees on the condition that if he wins, Philo will reveal Marie's location. Hoping to defeat the martial arts specialist without harm, Lloyd suggests arm wrestling to decide, lying that it is a traditional Kunloon fighting method. Believing the village tales, Philo agrees. As they wrestle, the shockwaves from their strength blast Alan away. When Alan hides with the sacred sword, Roll's information broker suddenly attacks him with fireballs to steal the weapon. However, Mina intervenes, trapping the broker in a water bubble. She is fed up with Roll using her sister as a mere tool. Returning to the match, the intense arm wrestling reaches the sky. Lloyd uses air magic to change their momentum and hurl them back to the ground, ensuring his victory without injuring Philo. Impressed by his strength, Philo concedes and unexpectedly proposes marriage. Surprised, Lloyd ignores the offer and asks where Marie is, and when Philo reveals that Marie had been safely in her bathroom the entire time, he feels like an idiot. Seeing her plans ruined, Roll grows furious. Suddenly, Alka emerges from the stolen crystal. Angry that Roll is not the Lloyd she hoped to see, Alka asks about Lloyd. When Roll insults her, Alka creates a massive fire explosion that destroys the room and throws Roll into a nearby river. Despite Mina's advice not to, Alan immediately jumps into the water to save the headmistress. The next day, Roll awakens in a hospital, and an old man has healed her wounds. Reflecting on her past mistakes, Roll recalls her childhood promise to rebuild the orphanage with Riho. She opens her eyes and sees Riho quietly sitting beside her, peeling an apple into thin slices, just as she used to. Roll smiles, saying that Riho's peeling skills have improved, but Riho silently ignores her attempts to speak. Meanwhile, the Kunloon sisters find an unconscious boy in a forest near a large lake and mansion, and they decide to help him before heading to the kingdom to eat steak. With the academy's summer break approaching, Selin is frustrated that her father is forcibly calling her home, and she even considers setting fire to stay with Lloyd. However, Lloyd already has plans for the break. Hearing this later at home, Alka and Marie argue, as both want to work at the same hotel to stay close to him. Lloyd explains that Chrome secured him a part-time job at a large hotel for the entire break. Wanting to be independent, Lloyd sternly tells them not to come, saying trouble follows when they are nearby. The next day at the hotel, the owner, Koba, a bald, scar-faced former royal guard, is startled by his new employee, Lloyd's terrifying aura. After showing him around, Koba explains that strange incidents have been occurring, where guests are found in inexplicable comas. Koba introduces Lloyd to Kikyu, a senior staff member who often shirks work. Hoping to avoid tasks, Kikyu assigns Lloyd the massive job of cleaning the entire bathing area alone. In a single moment, Lloyd cleans the bathing spaces and ceiling flawlessly, astonishing both Kikyu and Koba with his supernatural speed. Impressed, Koba assigns Lloyd to personally serve a difficult noble client, Threonine, arriving the next day, who happens to be Alan's father. Upon arrival, Threonine acts arrogantly, but befriends Lloyd due to their shared knowledge of forests. That night, Kikyu secretly meets Threonine, revealing she is actually working for him. They discuss recent coma incidents, suspecting that Koba, who desires a fight as a former soldier, has been illegally growing triants in the nearby forest before it is officially designated. Threonine reveals his true reason for visiting the hotel. He only agreed to a planned marriage between Alan and a local lord's daughter to gather information about the lord's suspected triant business. Threonine also mentions that a parasitic demon lord seedling triant, which greatly enhances its host's physical abilities, was recently stolen from a monster research lab. Recalling Lloyd's extraordinary physical feats, Kikyu suspects he might be the host. Threonine hands Kikyu a medicine designed to expel the parasitic triant. The next day, Kikyu approaches Lloyd in the kitchen and hands him the tea laced with the medicine. Before Lloyd can drink it, Koba enters, telling Lloyd to rest, and drinks the tea himself. Due to the terrible taste, Koba spits it out. Panicking at being caught, Kikyu immediately jumps out the window to escape. Koba becomes convinced that Kikyu and Threonine are the ones responsible for the coma attacks due to their strange reactions. Meanwhile, Riho uses her tournament prize money to vacation at the hotel. She calls the front desk for a massage, but when Lloyd arrives to provide the service, she becomes so embarrassed that she refuses to let him massage her. A little later, Selin and her father arrive for a scheduled marriage meeting. Selin panics upon learning that she is to marry Alan and claims she is already engaged to Lloyd, but her father refuses to listen. During the formal meeting, Selin devises a plan to attack Alan as soon as he enters the room. However, she becomes pleased when Lloyd enters instead. She immediately grabs him and drags him out of the room, leaving the surprised father to discuss business alone. In a private area, Selin questions Lloyd with romantic hope. Riho quickly arrives, asking why Lloyd is pretending to be Threonine's son. Lloyd explains that Alan was found unconscious in the hotel's pool earlier that day, so Threonine told him to take his place. Understanding the growing mystery of the comas, Riho insists they investigate. Seizing the opportunity to get close to Lloyd, Selin suggests that since they are apparently at a scheduled marriage meeting, they should go on a fake date in the forest to investigate the triant rumors. Lloyd agrees, thinking it's a good plan. Later at the lake, Lloyd and Selen try to act like a normal couple, but Riho becomes annoyed at Selen's strange behavior, intervenes, and scolds her for failing to act like a normal girlfriend. Meanwhile, Koba quietly observes the situation at the hotel, vowing to uncover Threanin's true intentions for using a fake son during the marriage negotiations. At the hotel, Shoma arrives in a delivery truck loaded with firebombs. Lloyd introduces his friends to his brother, and he immediately leaves to complete his delivery, handing the explosives to Riho. As Selen and Lloyd leave to investigate the Trent rumors, Riho becomes frustrated with Shoma and the dangerous delivery. During a boat ride on the hotel's lake, Selen finally opens up to Lloyd. She talks about her painful childhood training alone, when she struggled to remove the magical belt her father brought home. She admits that her repeated failures made her happy inside, as they eventually led her there. Expressing her love, she says everything is fine as long as he is there. Lloyd humbly replies that he can never be a true knight without helping others. Selen assures him that his desire to help everyone is the reason everyone supports him. As Selen walks away, Kikyu seizes the opportunity. Desiring to secretly examine Lloyd's body for the parasitic demon triant, she offers him a massage as a reward for his hard work. Lloyd happily agrees. Kikyu applies oil but finds no sign of the triant on his upper body. Worried, she thinks it might be hidden in his pants and reaches down. Suddenly, Selen returns, furious that another woman is touching her fiancé. A fight breaks out. Kikyu tries to throw Selen, but the magical belt blocks the attack. Lloyd unknowingly talks about the violent massage, distracting Selen long enough for Kikyu to escape into the nearby forest. Covered in oil, Lloyd agrees to go to the hot springs on Selen's suggestion. Selen's frustration stems from the fact that the springs are mixed for men and women, and soon all the girls, Riho, Marie, Alka, Mena, now working for the kingdom, and Philo join them. The girls discuss the stolen triant seedling and coma incidents. When Lloyd accidentally stands up, revealing his lower body, the girls are shocked. Seeing someone watching them from the forest, Philo grabs Alka by the hair and throws her towards the trees, accidentally hitting Kikyu, who is spying on them. In the deep forest, Kikyu regains composure and encounters Threanin's secretary, Minoki. Minoki reveals that he is the true host of the demon triant seedling. Seeking to ruin Threanin's reputation and exact revenge for years of mistreatment, Minoki orchestrated the coma incidents. Transforming into a demon king of the triants, he ensnares Kikyu with his branches and begins draining her energy. Lloyd arrives, searching for the thrown Alka. Following his nature, Lloyd assumes Minoki is wearing a large festival costume and scolds him. Enraged, Minoki summons a swarm of triants and marches towards the hotel. Lloyd easily destroys the summoned triants. Back inside the hotel, Koba, Threanin, and Selen's father angrily accuse each other of illegally cultivating triants. Minoki bursts into the room and declares his intention to rule the world, starting with the hotel. He attacks, but the girls arrive at the perfect moment to save the men. Believing their magic ineffective, Philo punches Minoki to reduce damage and throws him out of the building. The fight moves outside. Riho quickly wakes the sleeping Alan and orders him to help her throw firebombs at the monster. Minna traps Minoki in a massive water dragon, which Riho freezes solid. However, Minoki frees himself, causing debris to fall. Selen's father pushes her away, trapping himself under the debris. As more debris falls towards Selen, Lloyd arrives and Marie quickly explains that Minoki is a real monster, not a costume, and he must destroy his core. Finally understanding the danger, Lloyd leaps into the air. He easily dodges Minoki's attacks, breaks the ice, and destroys the core with a single powerful punch, eliminating the demon. Watching from afar, Shoma feels proud of Lloyd's strength. He then heads to a nearby location where he had buried the unmoving Alka underground using magic, and explains that he did it to prevent her from catching a cold. Alka realizes that Shoma knows about her immortality and asks if he is working with the mysterious man controlling the situation. Shoma confirms that he is, and immediately leaves. The next morning, a tired Alka uses her recovery magic to repair the hotel and treat the guests in comas, altering some memories in the process. Threanin and Koba apologize for their mutual suspicion, and Threanin leaves Kikyu at the hotel to assist Koba. Selen's father apologizes for the arranged marriage and allows Selen to marry whomever she pleases, officially placing her under Lloyd's care. Selen happily interprets this as permission to marry him. Complaining about his fatigue, Alka asked for a massage. Lloyd happily agrees to try the new technique he learned from Kikyu, but immediately throws the immortal sorceress to the floor. Shoma brings Makona, whose heart is broken with jealousy over Marie and Lloyd, to meet the mysterious old man he serves. Makona says he looks like a priest. Shoma reveals that Makona wants revenge on the man who stole her love. The old man hands her a potion made from triants and defeated demon lord's remains. Makona drinks it immediately and screams in pain as she transforms into a powerful winged, insect-like humanoid monster, vowing to eliminate Lloyd. The next morning, Lloyd is making breakfast for Marie and about to feed her when Selen, Riho, and Philo Philo enter. The girls have come to take Lloyd to the palace. The king has given military cadets a direct mission to demonstrate the kingdom's security by hunting a giant snake in a nearby dungeon. At the palace, the group is surprised when the king tries to reduce tension by playing guitar like a rock star. After the briefing, Sholeen reveals the dungeon's location. Meanwhile, Shoma is drinking coffee with the old man named Sue. Sue explains that he has been searching for this particular dungeon for 10 years and intends to reach the snake before the cadets. After Sue leaves, Alka appears and tries to learn Shoma's plans. After learning Sue's destination, Alka searches for Marie in the city and forcibly takes her to the dungeon as a guide. At the dungeon's entrance, Alan decides to stay outside as a guard. Inside, as Lloyd scouts ahead, Selene and Philo surround Riho and interrogate her about her true romantic feelings for Lloyd. Their conversation is interrupted by a loud explosion. Lloyd runs towards the noise and sees Alka and Marie have broken through the dungeon's ceiling. Alka immediately sets out to find Sue, leaving Marie to search alone. Exploring the dungeon, Marie reaches a room filled with triant roots and is shocked to find Makona inside a massive triant. An excited Makona reveals that she has been waiting to exact revenge on the thief who stole her love. Marie unknowingly wonders if Lloyd stole Makona's man, and Makona, embarrassed to directly express her love for Marie, suddenly grabs Marie with a tentacle. Trapped, Marie cries for help. Lloyd arrives and orders Makona to release her. Enraged, Makona refuses and accuses Lloyd of ruining her life and attacks. Despite Makona's new monster speed and strength, Lloyd easily dodges her initial strikes. Frustrated by his calmness, Makona uses all her strength and slams Lloyd around the room. Hearing the commotion, Selene, Riho, and Philo arrive. Makona immediately redirects her attacks towards the girls, mocking their weakness for wanting friends. Lloyd puts himself in danger, acting as a human shield and enduring powerful blows. He proudly says his friends give him the strength to keep going. Using all his strength, Lloyd charges at Makona. The tremendous force of their collision cracks the dungeon floor, causing them to fall to lower levels. As they fall, Makona attacks with a massive vine. Lloyd grabs the vine, uses it like a whip, and spins Makona violently before launching her completely out of the dungeon, passing through several floors. As the girls see the injured Lloyd, the massive snake they were sent to hunt finally appears. The snake, named Vritra, speaks and affectionately pats Lloyd, remarking on how much he has grown since childhood. Vritra introduces himself as the guardian beast of Kunloon, whose primary duty is to maintain the magical seals preserving Alka's immense powers. Vritra bitterly complains that Alka has been bothering him, imprisoning him in this dungeon, and that Seelan's magical belt is made from his skin. Suddenly, Sue emerges from the darkness. Lloyd instinctively senses that Sue is a bad man. Sue asks if Lloyd wants to be a hero no one can reach, and Lloyd simply replies that he wants to be a soldier. Alka then breaks through the floor and finally reaches Sue. As Alka and Vritra argue about why she imprisoned him, Sue seizes the opportunity. He lunges and crushes Vritra's core, instantly ending the massive snake's physical form. Sue gleefully says that with Vritra dead, Kunloon's seal will break, and Alka will lose her powers. However, Alka immediately punches Sue in the face with full force. Sue is shocked to see that Alka's powers still work. Selene's belt then speaks. Vritra explains that he transferred his consciousness into the magical hide belt just before his core was crushed. Seeing his plan fail, Sue retreats and finally threatens to break Kunloon's seal and reveal the last dungeon. As the dungeon rapidly falls, Alka uses her crystal to safely teleport everyone out. Outside, Alan is there with the other guards as the dungeon collapses. The next day at the palace, the king awards a surprised Alan the title of Dragon Slayer. Meanwhile, as Lloyd relaxes in his room, he realizes that Sue is the exact name of the legendary hero in his favorite childhood book. The night after the dungeon incident, Alka shocks everyone by announcing that she is taking Selene to Kunloon village to extract Vritra's consciousness from the magical belt and return it to his true body. Curious about Lloyd's famous ancestral village, the rest of the group, including Colleen and Chrome, decides to join the trip, and the girls are already dreaming of fulfilling their personal desires there. Alan stays behind, as the king has given him the title of Dragon Slayer. He is obligated to participate in a demonstration match against the Geo Empire as Azami's best fighter. The group travels to a cave containing the portal to Kunloon, where they meet Yug, a dwarf considered royal and centuries old. When Marie compares her age to Alka's, Yug becomes offended, quickly activates the portal, and sends them through it. Upon arriving in Kunloon, Riho and Chrome are surprised to find it resembles a peaceful, ordinary village. However, the impression ends upon entering the village. They are immediately overwhelmed by the immense energy radiating from everyone and realize that each villager possesses superpowers powers equal to Lloyd's. The group watches in amazement as an elderly woman effortlessly throws a paper-wrapped stone across a mountain to deliver a message, and an old man climbs into a cannon to be fired to his destination as a common mode of travel. Lloyd introduces his friends to an elderly man named Pirid, who easily lifts a massive monster fish. Philo is surprised to learn that Pirid is the creator of her fighting style, which took her years to master, but discovers that it is merely a basic morning exercise routine for the villagers. Upon reaching Alka's house, Colleen immediately asks about Merthoan. Alka points towards the wheat fields. Colleen and Chrome rush there, finding Merthoan happily working in the fields wearing only a loincloth. He tells them he has no intention of returning to the academy. Despite being manipulated, he willingly participated in the attempted coup and now seeks redemption by living a farming life in Kunloon. Colleen is frustrated, wondering why she ever loved that man. Meanwhile, Selin spots Lloyd with several villagers and happily hands them her and Lloyd's marriage registration form, assuming they are his family. The encounter is interrupted by a loud roar. Alka casually ignores it, calling it a flying lizard. Wanting to impress, Riho offers to handle it, but when she realizes it is a massive and terrifying dragon, she flees for her life. The village children easily save Riho by folding the marriage forms into paper airplanes and throwing them at the dragon. The paper planes strike with such force that they sever the dragon's horn and scare the beast away. That evening, the villagers hold a welcome party for Lloyd, serving a feast made entirely of high-level monsters. As the villagers prepare to leave, they inquire about Lloyd's love life, asking which girl is his girlfriend. Unaware, Lloyd insists he has no girlfriend. The villagers begin giving their opinions, some mentioning Riho and others supporting Philo. Angered and feeling ignored, Selene consults Vritra. Yug overhears and offers to help by using transformation magic to turn Vritra into an ogre, making Selene stand out. Later that night, the girls prepare for bed. Philo and Selene tease Riho, as the villagers have gifted her an expensive silk sleepwear set. Realizing its high value, Riho immediately removes her clothes to keep it safe so she can sell it later. At that moment, Lloyd accidentally enters the room. Seeing Riho naked, Philo immediately kicks him out, sending him flying towards the mountains. In the village, Mirtha Han formally apologizes to Princess Marie. She accepts, but asks for details on how a demon lord managed to control her father. Mirtha Han explains that a traveling merchant gave him an egg and instructed him to show it to the king. As he did this, the egg released the demonic entity, and he merely followed orders. When Marie asks for more details, Mirtha Han says he doesn't remember the man's face, but recalls that the merchant repeatedly asked a specific phrase, "What do I look like to you?" Hearing this, Marie realizes that she has heard that phrase before. In a private conversation, Yu and Alka discuss Su. Alka asks Yuji for more time, saying she doesn't want to repeat past mistakes, but Yuji warns that Vritra is close to regaining all his memories, and Alka has already waited too long. Yuji is eager to proceed to the next step, while Alka remains wary because of Su's intent to release demon lords from the Kunloon dungeon. The next morning, the group sets out to revive Vritra. They arrive at the last dungeon, which Yu explains looks more like a magnificent mansion than a prison. Riho becomes disappointed to learn that there is no treasure inside. Yuak reveals that all the other dungeons were merely decoys created by the dwarves to conceal the true last dungeon, which houses only dangerous demon lords and controls human minds. The key to the dungeon is the sacred sword, currently kept in Azami's castle. Since Alka's powers are unstable due to Vritra's current state, using the key now will inadvertently release all the imprisoned demon lords. To bring back Vritra, Yuji takes the magical belt and places it on fire for 3 hours. The process successfully transforms Vritra into a magical, sealed egg capsule. With Vritra sealed, Alka temporarily loses most of her powers and becomes as weak as a normal child. Yuji jokingly suggests that the group take this opportunity to vent their grievances against Alka. Marie eagerly prepares to do so, but quickly steps back when Alka glares at her. As the group prepares to return to the kingdom for the upcoming demonstration match, Lloyd asks for time to bid farewell to the villagers. Meanwhile, Yuji tells Alka to meet him privately. Once alone, Yuji activates a trap and drops Alka into a deep pit. Revealing his true identity, Yuji admits that he has been working with Su and Shoma to obtain the sacred sword, open the last dungeon, release the demon lords, and recreate the world. Leaving Alka trapped, Yuji returns to the group. When Lloyd finally arrives, Yuji manipulates him and claims that Alka may have fallen somewhere in the village due to fatigue. Worried, Lloyd immediately runs to find her. Yuji then teleports the rest of the group back to Azami through a portal. Upon arrival, Yuji is startled to see Mirtha Han, who had only come to give some vegetables to Marie and intended to return immediately. Yuji lies and says he temporarily closed the portal, effectively trapping Alka and Lloyd in Kunloon, and he assures the girls that Lloyd will join them the next day. Colleen is surprised to see Murthohan there. Later, while out to sell the expensive clothes given by the villagers, Yuji approaches Riho and offers to buy and repair her mithril prosthetic arm. Suspicious, Riho keeps the offer in mind. She then meets Mina, and they go to see a recovering Roll, who is now writing a book. Riho asks Roll if she remembers who manipulated her into stealing the sacred sword. Roll's memory is hazy, but she recalls that the man repeatedly asked, "What do I look like to you?" She also remembers that a little boy was constantly with him, clicking or popping sounds like someone sucking on candy. Recognizing So's phrase in the description that reminds her of Yugi, Riho starts to suspect that the dwarf is a traitor. At the stadium, Chrome orders Riho to handle security for an exhibition match between Alan, who is currently hiding in fear, and a fighter from the Jew Empire, as both the kings of Azami and Jew will be present. Seeing the crowd, Riho is surprised to spot Su and Shoma standing very close to the Jew king. Su himself is the king of Juo. Sensing immediate danger, Riho approaches the Azami king and asks him to cancel the event. Initially skeptical, the king agrees to listen privately, when Chrome assures him that Riho is a trusted companion of Princess Marie. Back in Kunloon, a frustrated Alka loses hope of being found. Suddenly, Lloyd appears above the pit. After searching everywhere, he remembers that he fell into the exact same hole as a child. That was the moment he decided to become strong, and he suspects she might be there. He easily moves the unnatural stone and rescues her. Overjoyed, Alka hugs him and says she likes the world just the way it is and won't let anyone destroy it. Due to the portal being closed, Lloyd offers to carry Alka on his back, promising to run as fast as he can while she explains her plan to save the world. Meanwhile, in Azami, UGG reports to Su that everything is going perfectly, and Lloyd will never arrive on time. Su smiles and says that even if Lloyd does come, he has a hooded fighter ready to deal with him. To get Lloyd to Azami on time, Alka suggests using the village's cannon method. Pyrid and Lokomo fire Lloyd from a cannon toward the kingdom, and Lloyd uses air magic mid-flight to greatly increase his speed. The next day, the demonstration match begins. Alan's opponent is revealed to be Makona, who still carries the Triant parasite. During the match, Su, who has revealed himself as the king of the Jew Empire, offers King Azami an alliance. Su suggests combining Azami's wealth with Jew technology to conquer the world, which turns humans into powerful, monster-powered weapons. Crone tries to intervene, but is paralyzed by Shoma's terrifying aura. After enduring enough from Abaddon's possession, King Azami firmly rejects the offer. So signals Yuji to proceed with Plan B. However, the girls stop the dwarf and reveal that they have discovered his plot to open the last dungeon and trap Alka and Lloyd in Kunloon. Surrounded, UGG summons a swarm of giant insect monsters using magic circles. Unfazed, Chrome and Mena signal the crowd. The girls expected a trap and have seated armed soldiers and adventurers in place of the stadium audience. A massive battle ensues. Meanwhile, Murthoan suddenly strips down to a loincloth to fight Shoma, using high-grade agricultural tools as weapons. He explains the importance of rural life to Shoma. Shoma becomes serious and reveals that he didn't leave the village out of boredom, but rather he grew tired of the world. He specifically wants to create a conflict-ridden world so his brother Lloyd can fulfill his dream of becoming a true hero. Shoma then easily defeats Murthoan with a single punch. On the other hand, Rihil pushes Marie out of Makona's path. Philo then kicks Makona into a wall. Hoping to obtain the holy sword, Su incapacitates Chrome and Mina and pressures the king. Alan attacks from behind and cuts off Su's arm. Unbothered, Su immediately reattaches it and reveals his true identity. Long ago, Alka created him with rune magic as a beacon of hunger. He was supposed to disappear after fulfilling his purpose, but he couldn't. Now, bound by the idea of being a hero, he exists as an unstable entity that everyone perceives differently. His ultimate plan is to kill Alka, become the ultimate evil, and force Lloyd to become a new hero, so Su can finally disappear. Suddenly, Lloyd falls from the sky into the stadium and unknowingly complains that Yuaji is a bad man who made him miss Alan's fight. The girls inform him that Yuaji has summoned monsters, and Lloyd immediately kills the locust he landed on. In response, Yuaji summons a massive stone golem and forcibly merges it with Makona, using her as its regenerative core. Lloyd stops it and throws it into the air, but the golem changes its course and counterattacks. Lloyd breaks its arm and strikes its body, but the golem immediately uses Makona's life force to heal, and nearly burns Lloyd with a beam of light. As Lloyd attacks again, the golem slams him into a wall and begins beating him. Fearful that he is too weak, Lloyd nearly gives up. Suddenly, Murthoan intervenes and stops the golem's attack. He asks if Lloyd will let his dream of becoming becoming a hero shatters so easily. Impressed, Lloyd finds the strength to stand and fight alongside him. Assuming Makona is the core, Marie and Riho conclude that they must separate her from the golem. Knowing Makona's madness, Riho screams that she has Marie's underwear. The trick works perfectly. Makona immediately breaks free from the golem's control to chase the clothes. With Yuga distracted by losing the core, Selen quietly approaches and snatches Vritra's egg capsule from Yuga. When Vritra refuses to emerge, Selen threatens to make the beast reveal Lloyd's entire long and boring adventure in its disturbing voice. Terrified, Vritra immediately breaks the seal. Back in the fight, Lloyd grabs the weak golem, spins it in the air, and completely destroys it with a powerful blast of air magic. Defeated, Yuga begs Sue and Shoma for help. However, they are surprised to see them happily recording Lloyd's victory. Yuji realizes that they only allied with him to create a crisis that would turn Lloyd into a hero. With Vritra's return, Alka regains all her powers. She arrives at the stadium and easily destroys the remaining locusts with a barrage of stones. As Alka prepares to eliminate Yuji, Shoma intercepts the attack. Shoma proudly bids his brother farewell, and the three villains retreat, promising to return. With the kingdom saved and the crisis averted, Marthoan returns to Azami, and Lloyd and his friends gather at Marie's house to enjoy a peaceful, celebratory meal prepared by Lloyd.